Announced in 1999, this would have been Resident Evil for the Game Boy Color, had Capcom decided not to pull the plug 90% through its development stage. Fast forward to 2012, the unfinished ROMs of this Resident Evil game were finally made public, but what exactly happened between 1999 and 2012? And, more importantly, is it any good? Commissioned by Capcom, this ambitious idea to port Resident Evil onto the GBC was entrusted to UK games developers HotGen Studios. Now, the folks at HotGen could have just produced a simple top-down type Resident Evil game, similar to this fan-made remake by JJ, but they didn't. Instead, they decided to port, as closely as possible, the original Resident Evil experience onto the Game Boy Color. We're talking taking a game that's around about 650 megabytes plus and squeezing it into a 4 megabyte cartridge, whilst also retaining that illusion of a three-dimensional environment to explore. The man who oversaw this project was HotGen founder himself, Fergus McGovern, who, in issue 88, page 42 of the UK gaming magazine Game Master, remarked, quote, "No conversion too big for the little machine," referring of course to the Game Boy Color. Resident Evil for the GBC was intended to be released in the fall of 1999, as seen in this advertisement at the back of issue 1 of the gaming magazine Pocket Games. But due to programming difficulties, it got delayed till January 2000, and eventually cancelled by Capcom in March that same year, with it being rumoured that Capcom Japan was not satisfied with the developers HotGen's final product. Really, Capcom? Really? So pushing the Game Boy Color to its limits isn't impressive enough? Unbelievable. However, this made way for Resident Evil Gaiden by developers M4, which released in 2001. And that was it. Until 2012, that is. The ROMs were finally made public with the help of fans of the Resident Evil community. And it's insanely impressive to see how far in development this game got before Capcom decided to pull the plug. We have cutscenes, a functioning inventory, a saving system, zombies to shoot, puzzles to solve, and yes, even a Jill sandwich moment.
What's going on?
Jill? Is that you, Jill? What happened?
Barry, help me please. The door won't open.
Although lacking the sandwich. Being in its unfinished state, you'll notice these lines of code are present throughout the game. This was to help developers debug and locate any problem areas before its final release, which never happened. Also, you have unlimited ammunition for both your gun and shotgun, but the bazooka is lacking any function. And another thing lacking any coding is Yawn, the giant snake that you encounter in the attic. As you can see, graphically he's there, but missing any function. However, we do have a pretty lively monster plant which we can easily kill off with the herbicide agent. As you explore the game, you'll encounter a few zombies roaming the corridors, but a few shots of the shotgun and you'll see they will drop to their knees. But be careful, as you can still die in this game if one of them gets a hold of you. Herbs to replenish health are scattered around the mansion, and in some areas the game will switch from its 3D optical illusion to a classic top-down camera angle. Overall, for an unfinished game, this is still quite playable. From a technical standpoint, this port is pretty damn impressive, but being that it is in an unfinished state, you can only go so far before coming to a dead end. Well, that's unless you're playing a patched version which will let you go further in the game. And that's it folks, Resident Evil for the Game Boy Color. If you've made it this far in the video, then congratulations, you are in for a treat, because in my next video I'll be taking a look at the Resident Evil 2 tech demo for the Game Boy Advance, as well as the mythical Resident Evil 1 for the Game Boy Advance that I don't think anyone's ever talked about. You've got to stick around for it. Honestly, you have to stick around for it. Anyway, here's a sneak preview of what I'll be talking about in my next video. So, till then, keep playing those retro classics. Oh, and if you've liked this video, please like, subscribe, comment, blah 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 blah.